As I live and breathe, what is going on, guys? Welcome to our weekly football podcast, where, of course, we go over the past games of last week and we give our predictions, our thought, our fantasy advice on the upcoming week. But of course, my name is Mr. Improv P, but I can't do this by myself. You guys know I need my co-host with me, Mr. J Rush. What is going on, sir?
What is up, everybody?
How are you, sir? Happy to talk about football because I am excited because the NFC East is just so exciting right now. And who'd have thunk we would say that?
Go figure. Go figure.
But I'll give you one better. I'm done with the Saints. I've given up on this season. If you're going to continue to play Andy Dalton, nothing's going to happen. If Michael Thomas's pinky toe is not going to be hurting him, maybe he'll play. But if he gets a scratch on his elbow, he's out for another game. It's getting ridiculous over in the Saints organization. And you know what? I'll just take the draft pick now. We called it quits, guys. We're done. That is what last week was. When we lost to Arizona, it was ridiculous.
Uh,
So why don't we go right into that game? Because obviously,
is that what we want to do? Was there any trades in football that went on?
oh, you want to go right into there? We could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't we start with that?
Talk to the people, Mr. J.
Well, so as most football fans know, the trade deadline is Monday. Day after, well, I guess technically there's a game played that Monday, but trade deadline's Monday. Hearing lots of big rumors. Football is not a big sport for in-season trades. But this season has been a couple. Obviously, we had a big one last week.
With McCaffrey, absolutely.
So this week we've seen a couple defensive players swap teams, and we've seen a nice, big, fat, juicy bust in New York traded, and
Oh, yes.
that would be Kadarius Toney from
To the Chiefs.
from the former Giant regime that drafted him, sent to the Chiefs for 2 picks. Obviously, not where he was drafted in, but they did get 2 picks in return. So they salvaged him into something. The Chiefs, I'm not really sure what their plans are with him. They obviously have a lot of weapons. Sky Moore has been a bit of a bust so far, but
Yes, he has.
you know,
Fantasy not favorable to him.
no, he's had fumbling issues among things. But
Mhm.
where does he fit in? They have obviously Hardman. They have Kelsey. They have Valdez Scantling. They have some undesirable running backs. So where in the pecking order does he fit in? We will see. But hopefully in next week's show, we'll have some more trades. Maybe a Kareem Hunt. I would have to say definitely a Cam Akers. Possibly some more. Maybe the Jets trade
Do
Elijah
you think
Moore.
it's just going to be all running backs? You think it's going to be a mix?
I think the Jets will trade. The Jets have been searching around for offensive line help between injuries and lack of skill. I could see Elijah Moore traded for a pick because I I've always been this way, and a lot of people have not called me out for it, but said something to me. Just change sports. Obviously, I'm a Mariner fan. Way back when Seattle was interested in Justin Upton, he said, "Oh, I don't want to play there." Good. Then I don't want you here. Go stay in Arizona and lose fucking 100 games every year. What happens at the end of his career when nobody wants him? Oh, look, Seattle came calling and he ran to them and hit fucking 180 and got cut. But you know what? I'm a big proponent of if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. Simple as that. Because you're just causing more problems and headaches. So, do I want Elijah more talent on the team? Absolutely. The Jets, though, are a ground and pound team, and they're
And I
getting
want to ask you that if I
more and
can.
more back to that. Go ahead.
Well, since we're in discussion, I enjoy a good discussion. With the Jets, obviously, and we're going to talk about it. Hall out for the year.
Hmm.
Unfortunate. Picking up James Robinson, which
Yeah, you can add that into the list because that happened.
that's what I'm saying. As a Jets fan, we want to have this discussion, or do they make any more moves, or was James Robinson the move? And do you think, as a Jets fan, are you going to be hurting now for the remainder of the season? Do you feel like
They
you might not be 5-2 after this week? Give me your thoughts, Mr. J,
well,
because the Saints are done.
they
There's
do
no
have a
doubt
rough
about that.
schedule coming up. So yeah, that's a fact. They have a rough schedule coming up. They need help, but nobody projected them to be 5-2 right now. So if you're gonna be 5-2, you got to do something. You don't just tank at 5-2, especially in a conference where
Your only competition is really the Bills.
the Colts. Well, I'm just talking about the AFC in general.
Oh, yeah. Well,
The Colts traded for Matt Ryan, expecting to be contenders. They've done nothing of such. And if I ran down the league, we have our big guns, but in our division, as you started to mention, the Patriots are 3-4 right now.
mm-hmm.
The Texans weren't anything to be concerned about, but the Colts are 3-1. They were a team that was supposed to, compete for a playoff spot, possibly the division. The Browns are 2-5. The Bengals are 4-3. I mean, somebody's going to win that division. We'll talk
The
about
Bengals, I
Baltimore
think, are on
right
the
away.
rise. I think they'll win the division.
But the Ravens are 5-3 and have blown 3 games. The Ravens should be 8-0, and they're not. So the door is open for all these different teams. So if you're the Jets, why not? The Chargers haven't been that good. Herbert hasn't done much. So the door's open for the Jets if they want to take it. I saw an article. I did not read it. I probably should have, where it said the Jets should be buyers and sellers at the trade deadline, which does make sense. But like I said, I didn't read that article yet. But if the article says what I assume it'll say, absolutely, they should be buyers and sellers. Get that O line. If it requires you trading more, then so be it. If it requires you trading Denzel Mims, who wanted out first, so be it. But I feel like he'll be more content, if they trade more and he gets to play. I feel like he'll be all right. I'm not sure with Moore, and I don't remember if I said it on stream or if I said it to somebody else. I'm just confused at how all of a sudden the Jets are now winning, and now it's a problem that you're not getting the ball. It's a team game. Shouldn't you be excited your team's winning? Would you rather be 0-8, but you get your 6, 7, 8, 9 targets a game? That's better? I mean, yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, maybe you'll make more money when you have free agency. But don't you want to be a winning player on a winning team and things like that? But apparently not.
Very fair. I'm very upset that you didn't mention Russell Wilson because I was expecting that.
There was no point, and everybody knows he's garbage. He's still probably doing leg lifts on a plane while we're talking.
Let me tell you something. The memes I have seen this week has all been about Russell Wilson, the airplane, and
the
trade with the Giants, where like this guy is magically healed.
Well, let's go even better. Justin Tucker, a kicker, was making fun of him yesterday. A kicker. You can say, "Oh, kickers aren't real athletes," or whatever. Okay, well, Justin Tucker is making fun of Russell Wilson.
Listen, we're not talking about the Ravens right now. I have a bone to pick with them later. I'm crushed from last night's game, but we'll get there later.
So, all right, so lead us in. Oh, captain, my captain.
I had another question.
Oh, well, ask that question. Ask that question while I stare at this Cardinals Saints score.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about.
I'm real locked into this number right here.
It leads me to this as well. As for you, do you think we need to start selling? Do we need to buy? What do we need to do for these trades? Do we have to sell Michael Thomas?
Who would take Michael Thomas? You can't get him out on the field. That would be like me eating an apple and then trying to sell you the core. What does that accomplish?
That's fair. So do we make any moves?
Yeah, in the wrong direction. We've already seen it. It's been in many of the group chats and all this and that. You probably don't read them, but there's been heavy discussions about them trading Alvin Kamara to Philly. And we talked about it, I believe, a little bit last week or in general. They talked about this. And the article starts off with is that the Saints want their first-round pick back. Good job. So you're literally now trading Alvin Kamara for nothing just to get your first-round pick back. That at this rate is going to be a high-end pick. So with you saying, hey, just lose and get the picks, all you're doing is helping out Philly, who hasn't lost a game. So, yeah, do they need to do something? Yeah, it's get as much as they possibly can for Alvin Kamara at this rate because you're not winning with him. You got Michael Thomas has no value. The only guy on the team with value on offense is Olave, and you just drafted him, so you're not trading him. So, what's the next best thing is Alvin Kamara, who has still, I believe, 0 rushing touchdowns on the season. So if your argument is he's our best player and blah blah blah, he ain't doing anything anyway.
Like I said, we all know who the best
So
player is.
you're not missing out on that. So go ahead, you go trade Alvin Kamara. We all know running backs have a short shelf life. It's also extremely expected that he will be suspended at some point next year because for whatever reason they delayed his trial. So who knows how long he's going to be suspended for? So get yourself rid of that. You're not winning with him. He's not getting any younger. So if you can recoup a bunch of your picks, go for it because you're not going nowhere this season, even though that division is so bad. Which is funny to say because the winner of the Falcons-Panthers game this week is in first place. The team that traded Christian McCaffrey.
Wait.
Yeah, you
repeat
heard
that
me.
for the ladies and gentlemen because I was looking up a stat quick.
Oh, yeah, you heard me. The winner of the Falcons-Panthers game will be in first place.
Ain't that
Not the
some
Buccaneers, not the Saints. The winner of the Falcons-Panthers game is in first place. That is how bad this division is. So, yes, could you win the division? Yes. Have you done anything with this team? No. Just give it up because what if you're at this point there's a 17-game season. So if you're a 6-11 Saints team that made the playoffs because your division's so bad, what does that get you? Nowhere. Because you're just gonna get blown out of the water. You can't beat it. You can't beat Kyler Murray. Who the fuck are you gonna beat in the playoffs? Who? There's not one team I think at this point right now that would be a playoff team that they're gonna beat. You know, with this format, right now they'd be playing the Vikings. And we all know what happens when you play the Vikings in the playoffs. I can bring up videos all day long if you need a reminder.
No, I'm quite all good. I'm quite
All
good.
right, so we know what
Let's
happens
go.
when
Let's
you play
get
the
back.
Vikings
Let's
in the
get back
playoffs.
to the topic at hand. Of course, Cardinals Saints. Cardinals did win this game. Big news for fantasy. Brown on the IR. At least a month they were saying last time I checked. But at least a month. But you got Hopkins. Should we be worried if you're Arizona?
You should have been worried if you were Arizona anyway. I'm not going to spend too much time in this game just because we spent time on this game. But yeah, you should be because your quarterback's not very good. And what came out today?
Do you expect? Oh God, I should not play him then. Do you know there's statistics where it shows that his fucking
I know, I saw it.
it's insane.
I'm not saying I do insane amounts of research for this because we're mostly talking about stats and all that. But yes, there is literally things proving that the minute Call of Duty season starts, his play falls apart. If I'm a guy paying this guy, what was his big thing? I want to be traded because I need to get, the big contract and blah blah blah. Why do you need to get the big contract? You're going to give me half a season worth of production, and as soon as Call of Duty comes out, you're going to fall apart. And all those memes and everything where, Mahomes is the bye week, and he's like, come on, boys, we're going to play Call of Duty. Deep down in Kryler's mind that's fucking with him because he's sitting here like, oh, well, Mahomes is going to play Call of Duty with the boys. Why can't I play Call of Duty with the boys? I don't know. Maybe because you suck
Mahomes
and they're 5-2.
Kyler Murray is a wildly different skill based.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is an A+ player. Kyler Murray's been playing like a B-, C+.
Yeah, one team has a bye week this week and is sitting in first place. The other team doesn't have a bye week this week and they're not sitting in first place. So you know what? Earn that bye week Call of Duty. Justin Herbert, you haven't been good, but you go play some Call of Duty too. You're winning. You have a winning record, so go play some Call of Duty. Heal up your injuries. Get back to Justin Herbert, who's supposed to be that guy. Kyler Murray, put up some numbers. And maybe Daddy will let you play Call of Duty. But for now, do something useful on the field.
We'll talk about it more because yesterday's game was Thursday, but Ravens beating the Browns 23-20. If I recall, we expected a little bit more from this Ravens team, and they haven't been delivering.
Well, like I said, we talked about it. Just talking about the AFC. The Ravens are 5-3, but should be 8-0. So, did we expect more? Probably. Should they have given us some more? Again, like I said, they've had the lead, and you can find memes about that too. They've had the lead every single game in the fourth quarter and lost. Why, Ravens? Lamar needs to get paid. You know, you have your defense is not what it once was,
I'm learning that in fantasy.
but why all of a sudden in the fourth quarter do we just implode every single week? For this game, Brissett was efficient passing, but didn't do anything crazy. Nick Chubb had a normal Nick Chubb game, average almost 6 yards a carry with a touchdown. Kareem Hunt did nothing rushing, but got a touchdown.
But
David Njoku,
realistically, is going to probably be traded.
yeah, more than likely. But if you're trying to build his trade values,
Yeah, of course.
5 carries for 4 yards is not doing that. Cooper had 74 yards. Njoku had 71 yards, but Njoku got hurt. He had 7 catches on 7 targets. He was putting it down last week, and then he got hurt. So it's rough to see, for them. That might have been honestly what cost them this game because they could not stop him. But Brissett fumbled twice. Peoples-Jones fumbled again. So you get bad turnovers like that, and you lose Njoku, who couldn't be stopped, and you end up losing by 3. Overall, big win for the Ravens. Lamar did nothing. He threw for 120 yards. Gus Edwards returned. I guess that was the big thing of that, and obviously we'll talk about it later on because
major things happen.
Gus Edwards came back from major knee injury, like multiple ligament injury. Had 16 rushes for 66 yards, 4 yards of carry, which is essentially the standard, and 2 touchdowns. So they lose Dobbins, gain the Gus bus. He did his thing, and the Ravens won. We'll get more into them as we said. They have they had a Thursday night game, so we'll talk about that this week, where lots of major things happened.
Like I was saying,
too much major things, and that's the problem. But yep, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Ravens, like you said, later, and we'll also talk about Bucks later. But for a little bit right now, we have Carolina 21 to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 3.
I'm not even gonna really. This is embarrassing. We're not even gonna talk about the Bucks. They sucked. There's no way to put it. So we'll just give you the important Carolina stats because they won the game.
And
PJ
let me
Walker,
tell you something, for a non-McCaffrey team, nice first showing. Granted, not saying anything about the Tampa Bay defense and just how Tampa
Bay has a top-tier defense for a team that's not winning, and they were holding Carolina down for a little bit, and then they fell apart. But Carolina's defense, who's mid-pack, will literally shut down the Panthers. PJ Walker is their third-string quarterback. He threw 2 touchdowns. That shouldn't be a thing against. I know it'll happen from time to time, but that shouldn't be a thing against a team with Super Bowl aspirations like the Bucks started the season with. But as you said, McCaffrey traded. The new two-headed monster. I'm trying to make sure I'm on the thing of Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. I know Chuba got a little banged up, and I don't think he's playing this week. But they both averaged over 7 yards a carry. I know you could say, "Oh, well, McCaffrey didn't average 7 yards a carry," but teams were playing knowing that McCaffrey was their only threat. Let's shut him down. So now that there was, more diversity with their offense, these guys had room to run, and they ran. DJ Moore, who's done nothing all season, had 7 catches and a touchdown with a third-string quarterback. So look at how dynamic this team could be.
Could be in first place this week.
They certainly could be a first place team. Like I said, I ain't talking about the Bucks. We'll get into them later on, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I just want
Panthers,
to piggyback on you. Hubbard's out
yeah. I
officially.
thought I'd seen it earlier, but I don't get
Yeah.
a lot of service at work.
Let me tell you something. That
I
league
stay
is
up late
killing
doing
me.
every league right this minute is killing me, and we'll get more into that just because the teams that we're gonna talk about, it revolves a lot around them.
Yep. But good to see Carolina making a staple. Love to see it. Also love to see when the birds go down, and especially when Burrow gets you 51 points in fantasy. Bengals 35 to the Atlanta Falcons 17. Still lost
So
that in fantasy, but my God, what a game for Joe Burrow.
that
It's insane.
that seems pretty typical of your fantasy seasons.
And damn
Play
right.
some big games, still find a way to lose, etc. But I'm gonna start running into that as well. This game, ugly in a lot of standpoints from the Falcons. And the reason we say it is they got down double-digit points early and refused to throw the ball. If you were the greatest running team in football and all that, I would understand it. But you're not. Why did we didn't try and come? It was like they literally gave up. Like not even halfway through the game, it's like they gave up a little more. Like just at the first quarter, they're like, you know what, we're not gonna win. Just let's help them run the clock out so they don't score 50 points on us. Is what I felt like they were doing. They did not try and throw the ball, which confuses me again because you drafted Kyle Pitts really high, and then the next season you drafted Drake London really high to improve your passing game.
And you don't pass to them.
And you don't even try to pass the ball when you're losing. I understand if you're up and you're trying to run the clock and whatever, or you're running for 300 yards in that game, but they barely broke 100 yards rushing and did not try and throw the ball.
I'm thinking about benching Kyle Pitts. It's getting ridiculous now.
At this
Taysom
point,
Hill
you probably
outscored him.
have to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to put Taysom Hill in because at least I know that he'll get something.
Yes. Bengals, as Mr. Pete said, Joe Burrow went nuts. Joe Mixon didn't do a lot again, which is kind of frustrating for owners, but their wide receivers had a field day. Boyd 8 catches, Chase 8 catches, Higgins 5 catches, Hayden Hurst 6 catches. They all the boys got to eat this game. Boyd with a touchdown, Chase with 2 touchdowns. Like the offense got clicking, and then what do we get this week? Jamar Chase out at least a month with a hip injury. Will their offense suffer? Yeah. Do they have enough weapons? Absolutely. But the dynamic that he had, I mean, don't get me wrong. Boyd had a 60-yard touchdown.
Is he going to become a major player now?
He's going to have to be. I think Chase had a 41 and a 32-yard touchdown. All big plays. You know, so does it take some of that away? Absolutely. Hayden Hurst, if he can stay healthy, will become much more major factors. So if you are somebody looking for a tight end, that would be one of the first places I would stop. You know, obviously each league is in its own way, but you know, some teams they have Kyle Pitts, other teams might have a now injured Mark Andrews. Whatever the case may be, tight ends seem to be a need, and this is one that is definitely going to be worth taking a flyer on. I forgot. It's actually funny because we were talking about how they refused to throw the ball. I forgot this happened. They had a 75-yard touchdown, the Falcons. So go figure. You threw a 75-yard touchdown. Maybe you should try throwing the ball. Whatever. Let them do what they want to do. There's a lot of speculation that the coach is going to get fired there. So
time will tell. Cowboys 24, Lions 6. Cowboys win at the AT&T Stadium,
which they should have, obviously. But the two things I take from this game, actually, We all knew coming into this game the Falcons, not the Falcons, the Lions literally had the worst defense in football, ranked. Any aspect you want to take it. They don't get sacks. They give up big plays. They give up points. The first half, Dallas didn't do anything. I'm going through the summary. First drive, -7 yards punt. Second drive, 7 yards punt. So Dallas had the ball the first two possessions and had a grand total of 0 yards. The Lions kick a field goal, go up 3-0. Cowboys answer back with a field goal. So we're through one at 3-3. Lions kick another field goal, go up 6-3. Cowboys punt. Lions punt. Cowboys fumble. End of half. It's 6-3 Lions at halftime. For an offense that has a returning Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, Lamb, Gallup, all these guys, and it's 6-3 Lions who can't stop anything at halftime. So you're like, all right, what is going on here? Can the Lions pull an upset? We start the third quarter. Jared Goff becomes Jared Goff. They get the ball, throws a pick. Dallas drives, scores. And then after that, just a disaster. I think every possession, or maybe 5 out of 6 or whatever it was, the Lions turned the ball over. Jared Goff just went from, hey, we're winning, to I forgot how to play football in a half of football. So with that being said, stats wise, Zeke 2 touchdowns. Zeke owners, good on you. But now Zeke is also banged up. So anybody who
doubtful right now as of this afternoon.
Yep, and it really didn't seem like he was gonna play, which is where we're leading it. So if you have Tony Pollard, I think you almost definitely have to play him, because he's a player that you could play even with Zeke playing. But now it gets even better. So you're a Tony Pollard owner, you're feeling good. If you're a Zeke owner, hopefully you're smart enough to pair Tony Pollard with him, because if not, you're out of running back. CeeDee Lamb 70 yards, Noah Brown 50. Dalton Schultz 49. Nothing amazing. Dak threw 1 touchdown, didn't throw any picks. The Lions without Swift, which we'll get into because guess who's back. But Jared Goff,
to get into that.
Jared Goff interception, Jared Goff interception, Jared Goff fumble. All those things at this point kind of expected at him. Jamal Williams in his last start for the time being was pretty good. 15 for 79 against a good Cowboy defense. Good on him. Khalif Raymond, because Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt real early in this game, was their standout. He had 5 for 75. He's on a lot of people's radar for this week. So if you need some help there, Khalif Raymond might be an option. But overall, they didn't do much. But thankfully, they are getting their main horse back in DeAndre Swift. So hopefully they can get back on this train, because again, they were winning this game at halftime, and their offense just became a turnover machine in the second half.
Let me tell you something. As a Swift owner, happy that he's healthy. He's going to come back this week. Huge for the Lions coming up this week. But of course, like Joe said, I think this Cowboys team just too big, too heavy with Lamb, Gallup, Zeke, Tony. Even though doubtful Zeke, make sure, like you said, you got that Tony Pollard. But I'm hopeful that
their defense got a lot more slept on. They're making waves now, dude. Dallas's defense, I believe they're 5-2, so that's 7 games, has 29 sacks. That's 4+ sacks a game. So that is scary for something that's not supposed to be a strong suit. It's always Dallas's offense, their defense. With Dak out and all that said, just get on my back. We're gonna make something happen.
Let me tell you something. This NFC East, with the Dallas Cowboys, the undefeated Eagles, and of course these Giants winning against the Jacksonville.
Tell me about these Giants. Greg's not here. I was gonna give him props, but Greg's not here, so we're just gonna pretend like they don't exist.
Good showing on them though. But again, They're playing with the witching hour, the Giants, every week.
So passing though, which is still a concern to me. Daniel Jones had another Daniel Jones game, and you don't want to have Daniel Jones games. But Daniel Jones ran for 107 yards, and Saquon Barkley ran for 110 yards. So you're over here at 217 yards between two guys. That part's nice, but Daniel Jones needs to be a better passer. 19 of 30 is not ideal. He didn't throw any picks, but 19 of 30 is not great. Slayton was their leading receiver with 3 for 58. And a bunch of guys who nobody's probably ever heard of. Chris Myarick, Marcus Johnson, Tanner Hudson. Nobody knows. But the big props that came to this game was late at the end. They put together a big stop because Jacksonville was driving with a chance to win the game. And they made a big tackle. And I mean a huge tackle. I mean, overall, they stopped them a few times. But they made a tackle, I think that was down deep that could have been big, and they made a big tackle that shut the game down, and that literally turned the game around because I think Jacksonville actually had 2 chances. I think they turned over on downs and then ran out of time. So, with that being said, Jacksonville's been competitive this year, which is nice, but they need to get over that hump. The major thing with that will now be that they traded James Robinson, so it's now almost all Travis Etienne's running game. He'll be the horse. He was the horse in this game. 14 for 114 and a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence threw for 310, but nothing. No touchdowns, no anything. Christian Kirk 7 for 96, Ingram 4 for 67. Those are fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but give me something. You lost by 6 and you had chances essentially the whole second half. Push one in the end zone. That's literally how you end up losing. You turn it over on downs. Giants go down and score a touchdown. They kick a field goal, and bam, you can't do anything to match it. Give me a little more, Jacksonville. Just give me a little more.
Good said. Well said, sir. The Commanders, who actually isn't really that much of a threat in the NFC East, but I wouldn't say upsetting the Packers because the Packers are, would you say, terrible now, Joe? They lost 23-21 against a team that you would not think at the beginning of the season would have lost. I mean,
in the beginning of the season, yeah, nobody would have thought they would have lost this. The major things in this game were that Heineke's back starting because Wentz got hurt, and we mentioned a bit last week. Heineke has a much better rapport with Terry McLaurin than seemingly any other quarterback. Terry McLaurin went 5 for 73 and a touchdown. That's way better than what he's been. My thing is they established it early. He had 5 catches on 8 targets. But the first drive, he had 3 targets already, which is more than what he normally starts with. So Heineke to McLaurin is a legitimate thing. So that's what I said last week. If I was a Terry McLaurin owner, I wouldn't panic because he should get back on track with Heineke. And after one game, it certainly looks it. They also have somewhat of a 2-headed monster. Gibson went off the week before. He wasn't as good this week, but he was still averaging 6 yards a carry. So they were able to do their thing. The Packers, just another disappointment. They're in the market for a receiver. So, okay, you're in a market for a receiver. Why did Aaron Jones only get 8 rushes? Why did A.J. Dillon only get 4 rushes? If the passing game is your issue, why are you not relying on 2 workhorse running backs? Yes, they weren't having a monster game, but give them the ball. Let them run. If your passing game's not doing anything, let them run. And now
And Lazard is out against the Bills for Week 8, so
exactly. So you're already having problems in your pass game, and now your technical number one receiver's out this week. What are you going to do? Aaron Rodgers is going to throw it to himself. It's hard to figure out this team. Do they need to make a move? Absolutely, they need. And in the NFC, which we've talked about, where literally the Falcons or the Panthers are going to be in first place.
you gotta
You're the
stop saying
Packers sitting at 3-4. Feel like you still have a chance to make the playoffs because nobody in that division, outside of whoever wins, is going to make the playoffs. And the West, do we expect the Seahawks to keep this up? Do we expect, any of that? You're all sitting right there. Teams are going to regress. So if you can get a little bit better, you still have a shot at making the playoffs. You might have to overpay for a wide receiver. I heard that they were interested in AJ Green. Is AJ Green the answer that's going to put this Green Bay offense over the top? Absolutely not. You need to be better. You need to go get Chase Claypool. You need to go get Elijah Moore. You need to go get a difference maker. AJ Green 10 years ago? Sure. This ain't it.
top 5 wide receiver 10 years ago.
AJ Green ain't the answer for the Packers. So let's go, Packers. You got a few days to make a trade. Get Aaron Rodgers some weapons. I'm tired of watching him mope around. Obviously he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. You can't, no matter how much you hate him, you can't debate that. But act like it. I don't want to. He's literally, if he starts smashing the iPads around, then he's Tom Brady. Like, that's the only thing setting them apart right now.
I'm just gonna not bore you too much with this game. Terry McLaurin fans, you said earlier, huge game. The Heineke connection is real, like you said. Nice to see actually a 15-point game, first one of the season. So I'm definitely looking at playing him this week. Also, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Lazard's out. So, yeah, you have to make a move if you're the Packers to make a trade. Who are you throwing to? You're not running. And you know what? Yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But I've always said on this show, I feel like he's always had the weapons around him, whether it be Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson from back in the day. He always had those top tier wide receivers. And when you don't have it, you're showing that, oh, maybe you're not the quarterback. I mean, you are the MVP of last year, but definitely not showing it. So get your act together if you want your boy not to look that bad, Green Bay. Colts losing to the Tennessee Titans 19-10. Matt Ryan also not playing this week.
Well, I'll circle back to that. I just want to explain something about these two teams. So Titans won the game to get to 4-2. The Colts dropped to 3-1. So realistically, whoever won this game was leading the division. So with that being said, I wasn't expecting 35-32. My issue with the Colts is, and like you said, Matt Ryan's not playing this week because he's benched because he leads the league in interceptions. I don't put that on Matt Ryan. And I know Matt Ryan's not as good as he once was and all that. I put this on the Colts offensive coordinator, whoever's calling the plays. I get it, Jonathan Taylor got hurt early in the year. Fine. But now what is the difference between these two teams? The Colts seem like they are trying to protect Jonathan Taylor. Like they're worried about like 5 years down the line. Hey, Jonathan Taylor's, not going to be dead and worn out. And then, so you look at them and Matt Ryan threw the ball 44 times. Jonathan Taylor had 10 rushes. He's back from injury. I know you don't want him to get re-injured, but Jonathan Taylor is averaging just under 6 yards a carry. Give him the ball. We flip it over to Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill threw the ball 20 times, and Derrick Henry ran it 30 times. Derrick Henry, who's an older running back, and running backs don't age well, they're just like, Derrick Henry, you do you go do your thing, you go run 5 guys over if you have to. We're going to keep giving you the ball. And that is my difference on why, this game turned out to be the way it turned out to be, and why the Titans will win the division. Because they know, they stick to their plan. Derrick Henry's our best player. We're going to give him the ball. The Colts are like, well, Jonathan Taylor's our best player, so we're going to throw it 44 times. Unacceptable. So now they bench Matt Ryan because he leads the league in interceptions. They go to Sam Ehlinger, who at this point, if you're an NFL quarterback, odds are you're a pretty good college quarterback. So your college resume means nothing to me. How many quarterbacks in the NFL right now weren't good, good to great college quarterbacks? Tim Tebow was a great college quarterback. Where did that get him? Nowhere. So I don't care that Ehlinger was a winner in college. If he was that good in college, would have been a starting quarterback a hell of a lot earlier instead of his age, I believe, 26 season. And now he's stepping in for Matt Ryan to see what he has. The only positive that I will take from this is because he's quarterback, maybe they'll give Jonathan Taylor the ball to protect him, to protect Ehlinger. Give Taylor the ball. It's the best way to protect a quarterback is by running the ball. So hopefully Jonathan Taylor will actually get some touches so he could become more fantasy relevant because
He'd be that number one pick he was from the beginning of the season.
People throw the buzzword out there a lot. Like I said, I get it. He was hurt. But this team has the absolute wrong identity. He had 7 catches, which is fine. Get him the ball. 10 rushes plus 7 catches equals 17. Derrick Henry had 30 rushes. I mean, it's almost like find a play where they didn't give Derrick Henry the ball. Because their offense revolves around Derrick Henry. But Paris Campbell was their leading receiver with 10 catches. Why? Was Pittman just covered so well? Was everybody else covered so well? Maybe. But you have Michael Pittman. You've got Jonathan Taylor. Pierce has been a nice little surprise. We all know what Hines was, and he's back from his concussion.
You have a solid team there.
Do what you need to do. If you're not running it effectively, and we can go back to anybody who watched the Bucs game, they were like, "Oh, these short little screen passes are essentially the run game." Do that. Get the ball into your best playmaker's hands, not chuck and duck 44 times with Matt Ryan and score 10 points.
Las Vegas upsetting the Texans.
Huge upset here. Everybody had the Texans.
Absolutely, 38-20.
Going all the way. Unfortunately, your thing's a little different than mine, but yeah, give me 1 second. We know what happened. It's another name on the trade market. Brandon Cooks needs to go. I get it that he's a nice mentor for guys, but at this point, he's not mentoring anybody. These guys have now been around him for the whole training camp, and now this was their 6th game of the season. There's nothing more he's going to be able to teach these guys. Get yourself some value. Build yourself a team. Figure out if Davis Mills is your guy. He, like Matt Ryan, threw the ball 40-plus times. More effectively than Matt Ryan, but what happened? He threw 40-plus times, and they lost. Dameon Pierce had 20 carries. Beautiful. Exactly what they need. Now you go down to, like we said, he threw the ball 41 times. Jordan Akins was the leading receiver. He had 3 catches for 68 yards. Cooks had 4 for 46. Philip Dorsett had 2 for 45. Nico Collins, who, has the potential, had 3 for 33. We're not lighting it up. Let Pierce do his thing. Get your young guys some touches. Let them let them eat or let them cook or whatever. Give these guys a chance. And I'm not saying Cook is blocking them, but just don't even let that be a thing. Moore, Collins, Dorsett, whoever. You're our guys. Show me what you got if you want to be an NFL player next season. Mills, show me what you got, etc. Raiders, who've obviously been very underachieving. People thought they could make the playoffs. Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns, 143 yards. Again, a team knows what their identity is. Devontae Adams had 8 catches. Josh Jacobs had 20 rushes. They scored almost 40 points. Why is this so hard? Stick with what your team is. We're not sitting here like, oh, Derek Carr. Might as well be David Carr. Derek Carr threw the ball 83 times and they lost. No, Derek Carr threw the ball 27 times. And they won the game. Coincidence? No.
Jets beating the Broncos 16-9.
So for the second straight week, I had picked the Jets to win, and they did. But came with a loss, a big loss. So a win. When does a win become a loss? When you lose your best player, and that happened in this game. Brees Hall comes out like he does every week. Bam, 62-yard touchdown. He finishes the day with 64 yards because he gets hurt. And that just buries the Jets offense because he was breaking play after play every week. So Zach Wilson's done nothing. I don't know what I chalk it up to yet. You know, a lot of people are down on Wilson. Oh, he sucks. He doesn't do anything. This is a run team. I don't care how good Zach Wilson is. I don't care how good his receivers are. This is a team that does stick to their plan, which is running. They're sticking to their plan of running, which takes the ball out of Zach Wilson's hands for one reason or another. So, will this change the dynamic of this team? A bit, yeah. Did they go get James Robinson to help the run game? Yeah. Is James Robinson the same as Brees Hall? No. But we're gonna see what the Jets team is now made out of because they're sitting at 5-2, and they just lost their best player. So will they fold? Will Zach Wilson shine? Will all these wide receivers that they've been adding, Wilson, Moore if he's still on the team, Davis, Berrios, all these tight ends, Denzel Mims, like is this the time where the Jets open up their offense and really show what they got? We didn't have to see it in this game because A, Denver's bad. B, Denver started a backup quarterback. C, I don't even know what to say about Denver anymore. They have zero identity. Another team with no identity. Their backup quarterback threw the ball 46 times. So let me know if this is a trend. Brett Rippon threw it 46 times. Matt Ryan threw it 44 times. Davis Mills threw it 41 times. Did any of those teams win? Nope. Did Denver establish a run game? They did say Melvin Gordon would be more involved. He was. He led the team in rushes. Did he do anything with them? No. So did they try Latavius Murray? Did he do anything with his rushes? No. Denver, what are we doing? I get it. You had some injuries. You have two legit wide receivers. You have two still solid veteran running backs. And you can't do anything. You can't move the ball. You can't score points with or without Russell Wilson. So people want to blame Russell Wilson? Sure. And you know what? Looking, because now we're on this team, there's another guy who's possibly traded. Supposedly Denver's over Jerry Jeudy. Okay. Green Bay needs a wide receiver. And Jerry Jeudy's pretty good. You're 2-5. Make that move. Make it happen.
Take away from Russell.
Don't. They're 2-4. So Russell's 2-4 with them. So who cares at that point?
Indeed. Chiefs win 44-2, San Fran's 23.
I was a little bit surprised by this. Not because, so cool, all the hype.
Debut for
49ers
McCaffrey.
got McCaffrey. We didn't expect a ton out of him. I think he did more than realistically what was expected of him for his touches. San Fran's got a defense. They have playmakers on offense. What the hell happened? Garoppolo threw for 303. Better than normal. McCaffrey, the expectation was he'd get about 6 carries. He got 8. Average almost 5 yards a carry. Nice. Good there. Obviously, I believe he had, I think 2 catches. I'm looking right now. He had 2 catches for 24 yards. So, like I said, his projected line was like 36 total yards, and he outdid that rushing, and then got another 24 receiving. So, having a small workload, coming to a team, learning the playbook, etc., he outperformed what he was expected to do. The rest of the team, not so much. Debo, who I believe is now out this week, another lackluster week. I think he had like 40 something yards receiving. He had 42 yards receiving, not good. Ayuk was fine. Ray McLeod had 65 and a touchdown. Kittle had 98 and a touchdown. Kittle, welcome back to football.
Yes.
Rest of the team, what are we doing? Jeff Wilson averaged 7.7 yards a carry, which I loved because I had to play him. But he only had 7 carries. McCaffrey had 8. Davis Price had 2 for 4 yards. Garoppolo had 2 for 2 yards. Debo had 1 for 2 yards. The Chiefs' defense isn't what they were that first year they went to the Super Bowl. You could have moved the ball on them. So I'm disappointed that the 49ers offense wasn't better. McCaffrey, Ayuk, Ray McLeod, Kittle did their part, but where was everybody else? And then where was your defense? I know Mahomes is elite. Any way you want to put it, he threw for 423 and 3 touchdowns. Where was your defense? You got a good pass rush. You've got a good secondary. You have some of the better linebackers in football. Put some kind of stop together. Do something. They put up 529 yards of offense. If you're another team that's supposed to be legit, that's we were 10 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl last year. Well, you're sitting at 3-4 right now. Had to mortgage the rest of your future to go get Christian McCaffrey, and then give up 44 points.
Not great to see. Not great to see. Debo is officially out for this Sunday.
Yeah, so you got with Debo being out and McCaffrey now having a full week with the team. This is McCaffrey's week to shine. You're a McCaffrey owner. You're salivating. I'm gonna take a quick peek at who they're playing, because if it's any kind of
17 points projected.
If it's any kind of juicy matchup, which technically it is, they're playing the Rams, and the Rams, as we know, have been underachieving. So this could be a monster game for McCaffrey with Debo out.
I'd love to see it. You know what I also love to see?
Tell me.
A comeback story. And nobody's having a comeback story like Geno Smith over in Seattle.
Yes, and and it's not even like a sarcastic
no,
comeback story or anything, because Geno Smith is playing to his potential. Yeah, it sucks that it took longer. A lot of because I'm a Jets fan and the Jets drafted him, but we knew the talent was there, and now did Geno Smith throw the ball 40 times this game? No, he threw 27 times. That's almost like the magic number. I feel like I said 27 about 15 times today. He threw the ball 27 times.
Rumble number?
It could certainly be. It's clearly the quarterback number. You throw the ball 27 times, you score points, and you win. Tell me where this overwhelms you. Geno Smith was 20 of 27 for 210, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. DJ Dallas had 6 rushes for 35 yards. Geno Smith had 4 rushes for 7 yards. Where does any of that overwhelm you? It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
They scored 37 points. Marquise Goodwin was their leading receiver with 67 yards. Tyler Lockett had 7 catches. DK Metcalf got hurt. Metcalf got hurt. That will possibly, because I don't think he's playing this week, will slow down the Geno train a little bit. But Metcalf only had 1 catch in this game. They scored 37 points. So good on them. They're not trying to, Geno's not trying to be the Russell Wilson that won a Super Bowl. He's not trying to be Donovan McNabb, whoever. Geno Smith's just doing his thing. Threw the ball 27 times, scored 37 points, won by 2 touchdowns. Beautiful. Chargers, Justin Herbert threw the ball 51 times. So now we're on our 4th quarterback who's throwing it 40-plus times. And they all have the same thing in common. They all lost. I know Austin Eckler scored again. That's been a whole big thing. He keeps scoring. Great, but they're not winning. Like a fantasy owner, sure, you want him doing his thing. But again, he had 9 rushes for 31 yards, and that's becoming more of his norm. Great, he's getting touchdowns. He had 12 catches. So he's getting his fantasy points in the receiving end. And that's starting to concern me if I am a Chargers coach, if I'm a fantasy owner down the line, like if I have him in a dynasty league, it becomes concerning that he's not effectively running the ball. Why, like, does he need to change positions? Probably not, but you need to get more than 3 yards a carry out of Austin Eckler. And do I want him having 12 catches a game? Unless, like we said, that they're going to go to that where their running game becomes them short passes, then we don't want him having 12 catches a game. Lead that to the wide receivers. Let Mike Williams, let Keenan Allen, when and if he can actually stay on the field, do that. Give me that. But Chargers offense, thankfully, has a bye. I don't want to put it all on Herbert, but I feel like this is the perfect time for them to get a bye. Like, they're kind of floundering. Let's get healthy. Let's get Keenan Allen healthy. Let's get Herbert healthy. I don't know if Eckler's banged up, but let's give him a breather, and then let's get back to it. Get back to the Chargers team that was putting up over 30 points every game last year.
Yeah, well said. I think you're absolutely correct that the Chargers need this bye week just to figure out what's going on because they're a better team than what it's been showing. But to Seattle's credit, looking good, Geno Smith. However, both Metcalf and Lockett, both game time decisions.
I really don't think Metcalf's playing. So if you're a Metcalf
he did
owner,
have limited practice today as of Friday afternoon.
I just don't see it being a thing, to be honest.
He did have limited practice, but facing this Giants squad, we're going to talk about it for week 8, but not good week for Seattle. Who knows how it'll pan out for week 8? But let's finish up with the last 2 games. We got the Steelers losing to the Miami Dolphins 16-10. I'll be right back, Mr. J.
Yeah, you do you. So this is the Sunday night game. Another lackluster scoring-wise game. But Tua returned. So that was a big boost for Miami. And it actually showed, first possession, touchdown to Mostert. You're like, all right, Dolphins are back. Off and rolling. They sort of were, but they just didn't put up the points. Mostert, 5 yards of carry. Jalen Waddle had 88 yards. Tyreek Hill had 72 yards. They did what they do. They just didn't score in this game. That needs to be addressed a little more. Tua threw a bunch of passes that coulda and should have been intercepted in this game, but were not. So I put that a bit on the Steelers as well. Like, the Steelers could have easily won this game. They had so many chances with bad wobbly throws, which I understand wobbly throws are harder to catch. But they had so many chances to make game-breaking plays and did not. Najee Harris, 65 yards, so better on that avenue. Freiermuth had 75 as their leading receiver, which is nice because he's coming off a concussion. Johnson, Claypool, 40-plus yards each. Other than that, though, they didn't do a lot, and this offense, as I've said for a while, concerns me. They at least seem like they had more of an identity this game. They gave Harris 17 carries. But, yeah, Steelers get it going. Dolphins, and granted, they're a team in my division that's behind the Jets. Need to get finish drives. They need to get more of that going because the numbers were there. 16 for 79 for Mostert. I think Waddle had 22 yards a catch. Hill was at 10 plus. I like a little more out of Hill because he's the deep threat, but you know what? 7 catches is 7 catches. Just with the numbers they put up, they should have scored more points. Is all I'm trying to say. Long-winded answer that. There's not much more to say about this game. They literally only scored 26 total points. So while he's gone, I'll jump into the Monday night fiasco, which was the good old Patriots and the Bears. And this is a tough one to say. Good on the Bears. They put up points finally. They're also 3-4, tied with Green Bay for how inept that offense has been. They're sitting at 3-4, and they've beaten San Fran. They've beaten New England, things like that. They did what they do. Justin Fields, 14 carries. David Montgomery, 15 carries. Khalil Herbert, 12 carries. They pounded away at New England. And won. Simple as that. Patriots, Mac Jones started the game. Got yanked for Zappy. Wasn't enough. Stevenson, 11 for 39. Damian Harris, 3 for 8. Not good. Stevenson had 8 catches at least. But not good by New England's offense. They need to be better. There's some rumors Damian Harris might get moved, so that kind of helps fantasy owners if you have Stevenson. But overall, it hasn't been pretty. Lots of noise coming from New England about how their offense is this and that and not on the same page. This definitely seemed like it. You lost by 19 to a Bears team that can't score. Rough. So moving along, we started this week with a game and a man named Brady. And yeah, he did something he hasn't done, I believe, in his entire career. He's lost a 3rd straight game. So congrats to him. I don't know if you want to be congrats on that, but good job. More of a good job for the Ravens. As we talked about earlier, the defense struggles late in games. They did hold on to win this game. Bucks had chances, but the defense held. Overall, way too many injuries in this game. Mark Andrews went out with a shoulder injury. Gus Edwards went out. Just too much. I think it was Bateman. I believe Bateman also went out with a toe injury. So they lost a bunch of firepower on offense. They need to get healthy. Gus Edwards was at 6 yards a carry again. Kenny Drake was a nice fill-in. He is at almost 9 yards a carry. Lamar had his worst rushing game of the year. Duvernay had a rushing touchdown. Big surprise here on the offense is Likely. Showed up, 6 for 77, a touchdown, his best game of his career. Demarcus Robinson, 6 for 64. James Prochet got some action, which is nice. I have him in a dynasty league. I don't expect a ton out of him, but the fact that he's getting on the field and producing is, to an extent, is nice. But injuries galore on Tampa's end. They still ended up winning. The Bucks did what they've been doing. Shocker. We started a new week and Tom Brady threw the ball 44 times and was on the losing end. Can't emphasize it enough. The NFL wants it to be a passing league, which is why everything leads towards that. Pass interferences, roughing the quarterbacks, all those things. They want it to be a passing league, but as we see every single time, team that runs the ball better has been winning these games. Fournette, 9 for 24 and a touchdown. Not good. Mike Evans, 6 for 1 and 23 is obviously good. Godwin, 6 for 75 is fine. And then nothing. They did nothing. Julio had 2 for 21 and a touchdown. Fournette had 3 catches for 34. Rashad White had 3 catches for 24. Their tight end, Cade Otton, who has been strong when Brate doesn't play, only had 2 catches for 15 yards. Caught a touchdown, got overturned by a horrible holding penalty. Not blaming the refs. It's not the refs' fault. Play was already done with. Like, wait, Brady was nowhere near it anyway, and the guy's holding him. Why are you holding him? I don't know what you're doing, but rough game for the good old Bucks.
So I'm just going to touch a little bit on some stuff. I'm going to give you guys a little insight. Fantasy trading coming towards the end. So you got to think it's time to trade. And I was looking today, Mr. J, and it's time for me to shop quarterbacks in a league. When you have Tom Brady and you got Aaron Rodgers, things are not getting done. And with this Bucks defense lately, things are not getting done. Yeah, Godwin got you 10 points in fantasy. Great. Good time to start your week. But this Ravens offense was nice. What's killing us is obviously tight end fantasy owners, Mark Andrews. Huge blow. However, they're saying not so serious. The shoulder injuries not that serious. Should be back week 9 against the Saints. Good gracious. Why do the Saints get all the luck? So
well, we know he'll light them up.
That's what I'm saying.
The bonus
you're
being
week 9.
is
Come next week, we're going to be playing Mark Andrews, but it looks like you guys sent him this week. Hate to see it. Isaiah, I think, is going in, or but
it's not. They already played, so they got the extra rest. Since they played
yeah,
the
but I'm
Thursday game.
saying like for the following week. So look into
The following
that.
week they play the Saints to slap them around. This is week 8, kid.
Oh yeah, fair. I'm sorry. We spent over an hour on week 7.
You
I
leave
was
for
just
3
enthralled by
minutes
our
and
conversation.
look what happens. Look what happens when you leave in the middle of a podcast. That.
Listen, I don't hear no no's anymore. I'm very happy. Broncos versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville's home. Broncos. Wilson should be playing. You got to know because he was doing it in the airplane. He was doing it all the place.
Well, this is a game where Jacksonville being home means nothing because it's in London with a nice early start. So if you want to start your Sunday off wrong, get up and watch this shit fest. With that being said, it'll somehow be like 44-41. Broncos, nonetheless, will win a game. But overall, yeah, probably not a game worth waking up for. Enjoy your Sunday.
No London game's been waking up for lately.
And you know what? If you're feeling a little down, go to church instead of watching this game. Yeah, anything. Go mow the lawn. Get ready for Halloween. Whatever. Go for a nice walk. I don't see, unless your teams are that down bad that you're really like I get it, Mahomes is a buy and stuff like that. If your teams are that down bad that you needed to start Russell Wilson, which sadly my teams are getting to that point with all these injuries, but there's no reason you're watching for Travis Etienne at this point.
Yeah, I haven't played Wilson in weeks. I probably still won't. I'm going to go with Geno Smith, I believe, this week. But yeah, not worth getting up for 9:30. Not really worth talking about. I'm much more interested in talking about the Dolphins versus the Lions. The Lions are at home.
Well, as I talked about, this Dolphins offense needs to put up the points. They're putting up the yards. They need to put up the points on the board. What better team than the Lions?
But Swift
put up some points on the board. Sure, but Swift play defense. Is he going to cover Tyreek Hill? Is he going to cover Jalen Waddle? Is he going to tackle Mostert? Absolutely not. So will it help the Lions' offense maybe control the ball a little bit? Sure. But if the Dolphins are going up and down the field at the rates they've been going at when a healthy Tua plays.
Keywords there.
Yep, but he was fine. He played the whole game last week. He put up the yards. Waddle was at 22 yards per catch. Hill was over 10. Mostert was at like 6 yards a rush. Those are all, you per Tyreek Hill catch, you're getting a first down. Per Jalen Waddle catch, you're getting a first down. Per Mostert run, you're putting yourself in short yardage. They were moving the ball efficiently, effectively, any other E word you want. They only scored 16 points. So my gripe to them was that they need to score points. If you're going down the field, score yourself some points. This is the game that they should be able to do it, even though the Lions defense held Dallas to 24 last week. And held sounds really weird, but as I talked about, they held Dallas offense at 3 points in the first half.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Dolphins, I'm going to say it here. We talk about the NFC East being very competitive this year. Give it up to the AFC East. I mean, they got some nice contenders, except obviously for the Patriots. But with this Dolphins offense, and Tua, when he stays healthy, and like we said, keyword there, like this is a dominant team. You have the Jets, you have the Bills. Like this is very good, and I think the Dolphins, even though Swift is back, have that too much of a momentum to go in that division to show who is the boss. And with Hill and Waddle, it's always good. 17 projected for Hill this week. I presume for Waddle, it's about the same. You're just going to see Tua light it up against this Lions defense. But we hope that Swift gets a couple touches. Hopefully gets a touchdown here and there. But I believe this game will be 35-17 Dolphins. Let's move on to God, Jesus Christ.
The battle for first.
The battle for first. It's like the battle of the bastards from Game of Thrones. The Panthers go to Atlanta for this. Who will be first in the worst goddamn division in football?
Well, if we just go over last week, it looks like easily it'd be the Panthers.
And
They threw the ball efficiently. They ran the ball efficiently, but they attempted to throw the ball. I'm not saying I want Mariota to throw the ball 44 times like everyone else is that's losing, but you got to at least try and throw the ball. I mean, I don't know what else more I can say about this game because we have no idea what these teams are capable of doing. Chuba Hubbard's probably not playing. I don't remember they officially ruled him out, so that's a scary proposition. That's a negative strike to the Panthers. But again, as we said, the Falcons got down and didn't even try and throw the ball. So who's to say they're going to throw the ball this week? Les Cordarrelle Patterson came back, and I didn't get the memo. I don't really see anything going on in this run game that's like, oh my God, they're going to blow the Panthers out of the water because they run the ball so efficiently. Because they don't. So on paper, I would lean towards the Panthers winning this game just because it seems like they have some form of an idea. Like, hey, all right, we're not going to throw the ball a ton, but we're going to throw it effectively, and we're going to run it effectively.
Here we go. Welcome to the show, Greg. This game, God, I hate it so much. All I want, Mr. J, and I
It's
don't
for
think
a
it's
team
too
to
much
be in
to ask.
first.
No, not even the Saints.
Oh.
You know what I would just love is Kyle Pitts to have a fucking great fantasy week. Is that possible? Is my question. And like you said earlier, if the Panthers play like they did last week, they're saying forget about McCaffrey. We're here and we're taking first. As we know, Hubbard is officially out, which
Is he officially out? So that changed the dynamic. You know what? And the way NFL's gone, because we've seen it, this would be the game that randomly ties again, and here again, nobody will be in first again, and whatever.
God, imagine, Jesus Christ! I thought we would lose my shit.
It's not even about imagining because the way these teams are playing,
it could happen.
Anything could happen.
That's indeed correct.
That's how. And I don't want to. Obviously, we're doing a podcast. We love football, but that's just the way the NFL is becoming. Like what? Why? What is going on with this sport at sometimes? Every other sport preaches parity, and then the parity that the NFL has is the bad type of parity. Like, hey, we're gonna go down, and this game's gonna end 3-3. Not like shootout playoff games, Mahomes and Allen. This is like we literally can't cross midfield, and the punters, earn their season salary in one game. Is disgusting, and we've seen it almost every single Thursday night, and it's sickening. And half the time I don't even want to watch the Thursday night games. That's how bad it is.
What is your prediction? You think it will be the Panthers?
I think the Panthers, even without Hubbard.
I
What,
can't.
what you know? What if the Falcons are winning 6-3? The Panthers are at least going to try and throw the ball and get down the field. If the Panthers are winning 6-3, the Falcons might take 3 knees and punt the ball. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I have guys on their team because they're young and talented, and the Falcons are more content to waste this talent. As we said, Pitts, 4th overall pick.
Show me something.
Drake London was like 5th or 7th, whatever it was. He was a top 10 pick. Drake London had 1 target last week. 1. You're telling me that Drake London didn't deserve more than 1 target in a game that you were getting blown out of the water? Throw the ball, let him make a play. And if your excuse is that Mariota can't, throw, he threw a 75-yard touchdown to a guy that no one's ever heard of. And I think it was his first catch of the season. So if that guy can get a 75-yard touchdown, how do you not give Drake London a chance to make a play, do something? If Mariota's not that guy, then it's time to get the backup in, or get the rookie in, get somebody in. Give your fan base.
It's relevant.
Yeah, give your fan base something to be excited for. If I'm a fan, why am I paying money to watch this team? Well, I want to see them run the ball for 2 yards of play and punt.
Especially when they're crying for a tight end. Cardinals going to Minnesota to face the Vikings, the surefire playoff fucking winners for the NFC North.
It's definitely leaning that way. The only thing concerning me is early on in this game, so the Vikings coming off a bye, would be some rust. But we all know what came out this week. And we all know who they're playing this week. So if Kyler Murray comes out 1 for 9 with a pick, everybody's going to know why. And
they're going to light it up.
And things are going to go down. Things are going to get said. Butts are going to get hurt. And because the trade deadline is the next day, I could see there being some shakeup. And I'm not talking about AJ Green. I mean, I'm not saying Murray's going to get traded. But
Hopkins?
But tell me if you're DeAndre Hopkins, you're at the back end of your career. I'm not saying your career's over because you're still really good.
Back end.
But you're not getting any younger, right?
Mm-hmm,
you're not as dynamic as you were. Do you want to stick it out with this?
Can I give you a thought?
Go ahead.
He goes to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I said earlier that AJ Green is not that answer. DeAndre Hopkins
could be.
Certainly is that answer. He served a suspension and all that. So he's good to go unless something happens again. So if you're a team like that and you're sitting here watching the Cardinals just keep falling deeper and deeper into this hole, how do you not pick up the phone and say, hi, Cardinals, you suck. Your quarterback's too busy playing Call of Duty. What do you want for Hopkins? And all I'm saying is because he's older, it's hard to command that give me 5 1s for DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is prime, sure, you'd be like, hey, give me 3 1s and some other picks. But at this point in his career, the Cardinals can't be like, hey, we want a king's ransom for him. And if they do say that, that's dumb on them because where are they going? Nowhere. It's the same thing I said about the Saints. You're not winning. I get it that he just came back, but you weren't winning. You're in a really good division. Granted, the Rams are underachieving and stuff like that, but you're not going nowhere. Why not start to get ready for the future?
3rd round.
I think it'd be a little more than that, but still, it would definitely be worth it if you're the Packers and you're trying to make a run. Tell me that Hopkins doesn't make Aaron Rodgers better and makes that offense better.
That's why I said it to you. I fully agree that
that's my point. That literally gives him nothing to cry about. I get it. You lost Adams, but DeAndre Hopkins is still pretty damn good. There's no reason for you to throw for 170 yards.
Yeah, I for this game, it's Call of Duty weekend. I guarantee you Kyler Murray's probably playing right now. The Vikings looking too good. I'm hoping fantasy-wise, Thielen has a good week. Usually If we remember last year around this time, week 7, week 8, he has a big 25 to 30 point game. So that would be nice to see. And I could definitely see it on this Cardinals defense. With that being said, I expect it to go to be 28-10 Vikings.
I will never knock Thielen because he was Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp.
Yep, I agree. That's why I'm saying
Justin Jefferson is just so good that until a team, aka the Eagles, find a way to stop him, since that's the only team they lost to was the Eagles, until somebody finds a way to stop Justin Jefferson, it's going to be hard for Thielen. He'll do his thing. He'll get those nice little clutch
he's
first down
consistent.
catches. Yeah, but he's not getting that. He's not getting that 10 for 110 anymore because Justin Jefferson's just so dominant that nobody can cover him. It's almost that he has to be throwing the ball. And they need, teams need to do more than double cover him. And until teams can find a way to efficiently at least double cover him, he's gonna eat up them targets.
I agree, but still would be nice to see a nice Thielen game. Bears going to the Cowboys, but Zeke very doubtful to play. Does that affect their outcome of this game? Coming off a Bears win against the Patriots,
it shouldn't be. The major factors to this game are the Cowboys' rush defense is pass rush defense is extremely good. The Bears don't throw the ball. So will the Cowboys defense be able to flip the script a bit and stop the run and try and force the Bears to throw? And then vice versa, as we said, the Cowboys had 3 points at halftime. The Bears traded one of their better defensive players, pass rusher, so that should help the Cowboys. But we need to see the Cowboys offense, put up some points. So it'll be more of can the Bears run game. Cowboys rush defense is slightly above mid pack. So they're in the right tier, they're in the top half. They're not top 10, I think they're 12th. But 12 out of 32 is still pretty good. But their pass rush is 1. And 1 is a lot better than 12. So can the defense step up to stop the run, or can the Bears run over that rush defense? We'll be seeing because of Justin Fields, which this is especially of him. If Justin Fields has to drop back to at least attempt to throw, Cowboys defense is going to get after him, and he's going to be running for his life. They had a stat. He had 15 rushes last week. Only one of them was not a designed run. So I don't know if that's good on him, that he's becoming more of a quarterback or whatever it is, that he's not just panicking and running. But it's interesting to see how many of his rushes this week were designed runs as opposed to plays breaking down, him panicking and running, or the Cowboys defense being all over him and him having to run.
Let me tell you something. I'm hoping for Fields to become that quarterback he needs to become. But all in all, I think this Cowboys defense and this Cowboys offense will be too much for the Bears. I clearly see domination on this. Lamb should have a huge, monstrous game.
Well, before we skip past this, just going on what I don't think he'll ever, and this is the sad part with the way sports are now, he'll never live up to his expectations from where they were in college because they were just so high. And as I said earlier, what quarterback in the NFL right now wasn't at least good in college? They don't just take some guy from, blah, blah, blah state who threw 2 career passes and hey, we're going to make this guy a starting quarterback. No, these guys won games in college. But why? Because they went to schools that could dominate lesser schools. So congrats. Back then, what did everybody talk about? Oh, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick and he barely played. We don't see that anymore. These guys are worst case 2+ year starters in college. So, can player X from Alabama light up the score on Savannah State? Absolutely. Can you do that in the NFL? So, just his hype was just so monstrous in college. He stayed at home at first and went to Georgia. Couldn't beat out Jake Fromm. Went to Ohio State. We all know Ohio State always puts talent on the field. Your boy Michael Thomas, Zeke, Olave. They churn out those guys. Looks real good in college. So, of course his hype was high, and I don't think he'll ever be able to match that. And the sad part is I feel like Bears fans and possibly even Bears higher ups expect that. It's just not realistic anymore nowadays. With that being said, I ain't even gonna talk of this game. I want to hear all about it from the expert himself.
The next game, we're not there yet.
Over there, I'm ready.
Cowboys to win by at least 2 touchdowns. Raiders going to the Superdome to face the Saints, a crippled Saints, a a Saints team that deserves to be in last place. Let me tell you something. Wake up and decide to put Taysom Hill, our Lord and Savior, over in New Orleans. When they decide to put him as your truly quarterback, things will change. But for right now, I think this Las Vegas team is just too much. Hunter Renfrow, you have him. I know he hasn't been utilized as much as Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs, but it's healthy. Great to see, especially, having that Davante Adams. You have that Hunter Renfrow and that Josh Jacobs. You got that triple threat looking good against a weakened down Saints defense. I mean, I'm pulling it up right now because I got the ins and outs. Michael Thomas is out. Jarvis Landry is out.
Jarvis Landry is out. He's been another major ending up bust. But we knew because we talked about it because we saw the tweet, and it was Michael Thomas out this week, and the response was the sky is blue. It's becoming that much of an occurrence, and I get it. It's a physical sport, but my God, get on a field one time. Just play a game. Like we're like 4 years deep now, and he's played like 7 games. You're literally being paid to do what? Go sit in a hot tub all day long? Oh, I'm rehabbing my toe. Bro.
Man leads the league with the most catches in a season.
Great. And then now leads the league in most missed games in a season.
Because he hasn't played a combined full season. I completely agree with you, Mr. J. Rush. I completely agree. That is why I'm saying this team is not where it needs to be. And it's just give us the draft. Give us the fucking pick because we're not doing anything. And let's draft a quarterback. I mean, we're going to bring it up. Marshawn Lattimore, guess what? Out. There goes our defense. Nobody be covering Davante Adams on our team. So it's. I think this is going to be a very painful game if you're a Saints fan. But if you're a Davante Adams fan, my God, you might do backflips. I expect this game to be an absolute slaughter. Honestly, I think this is going to be 28-3, Las Vegas. I don't even think there's an offense from the Saints. I think Kamara maybe gets you 6 points in fantasy. I just think even though they're home, granted they could put up a fight, but we got too many injuries there, and we got a Las Vegas team that's looking tight, and you gotta love that Carr Adams connection. Josh Jacobs looking like the Josh Jacobs of a couple years ago when he was a top relevant running back, looking great. Hopefully he keeps on that path. I mean, and the Saints are that team to do it on. I can go on, our defensive line, yeah, we have Jordan, but it's just I feel like this Raiders team is going to be too much. Your thoughts, sir?
It's twofold. So Herbert had a bye. I had to replace him with Andy Dalton because I expect them to have to throw a lot. So I need to, in that sense, I need to see them score with the guys that they're rolling out there. Presumably at this point in the week, Kamar's not getting traded, so that's understandable. So Kamar's playing in the game, but I also
Do
understand
you think
that.
there was talks?
Oh yeah, why wouldn't there have been talks? It's been all over the internet. I know that you're not, a big fan of all these things, but
I don't like rumors until they happen.
sure, which is great, but you have to, where there's smoke, there's fire. They always tell you, how do you not?
No, I
You're not
agree. I agree.
you're not winning and all that. My thing is how protective of Kamara are they going to be in this game? Sitting here like, okay, if we lose, we're at this point we're more than likely done, even though this division's so bad. If we lose, getting Kamara hurt doesn't give us anything. Because if they go out there and Kamara gets hurt, you're not
His trade value is gone.
you lose all his trade value, and now you're gonna lose, and you still have him. So that is my bigger concern. Do I think they'll play it like that? I think the first half they're gonna play to win this game, and then it'll be a crapshoot from there. If they're in the game, they play to win it because this division's so bad. If they ultimately end up losing right after the game, late tonight, that night, early in the morning, trade's coming. That has to come. Team's not going nowhere. You're out your picks. You need to get something. If you lose, it's got to happen. You can't hold on to these guys. Michael Thomas got no value. Olave is the new improved Michael Thomas, so he's not going nowhere. So this is really your only option.
Hate to see it as a Saints fan, but we both agree on that. Steelers going to Philadelphia against the undefeated Philadelphia, the only undefeated team. Does that continue against this Steelers team? God, I hope so.
Well, again, we would have thought so, but every other time we thought, the Bucks will beat the Steelers, no problem. What happens? So should they? Again, I'll say the same thing I said. They're coming off a bye week, so start of that game concerns me. But they're a much better team, and they added talent, and they're possibly adding more talent. Again, Monday's the trade deadline, so if they end up getting Kamara, it wouldn't be this week anyway. But going as is, they have AJ Brown. Miles Sanders has been better. Smith's been pretty good. A little inconsistent for my liking, but he's been good. They're much better on paper than the Steelers. Just do you. Your defense has been good. Your offense has been good. Just stay that course. You don't need you don't get bonus points for winning by 40. So just do your thing. Pick up a win you should win. Stay undefeated. Pressure's not there yet because we're not deep enough into the season where you're worried about staying undefeated. But do your thing. Stay undefeated this week, and move on to next week. Give yourself a cushion because there's two teams right behind you in that NFC East.
Yeah, I think there's no reason why the Eagles should lose this game. AJ Brown already projected for 13 plus points. Miles Sanders, he does his thing. I mean, if you have Harris, good for you. Harris, I think, will put up the points as of late, getting the 10 to 12 points. So you're good with that. But yeah, I think Philly takes this 2 touchdowns. The more interesting game I want to talk about is your thoughts, sir. Since you made me start with the Saints, I'm going to make you talk about the Patriots at MetLife against the Jets.
No, we know 5 years ago this would have been a problem. Now, so earlier in the week, Patriots essentially came out and said Mac Jones is their guy. Mac Jones was their guy last week. didn't do anything, got yanked. So now, are we fully committed to Mac Jones? Are we gonna go that same game plan?
What would you do?
I mean, my assumption is that they're fully committed to Mac Jones. And I mean, I've seen things all over the place. Mac Jones on the Colts, Mac Jones on the Browns, which obviously doesn't make sense because they gave Watson all this money just to be suspended. But I've seen those memes all over the place. Right this minute, things should change in the offseason. But right this minute, Mac Jones is your guy. I know a week or two ago I said that Zappy needed to be the guy because he was moving the offense. But now Zappy, after this game, came back down to earth. Neither quarterback was good, and you got blown out by the Bears. So there's no, you're not riding that momentum like Zappy didn't just come off a huge win, and you're like, all right, Mac Jones is in. No, they both are pretty bad. You go back to where you started. Mac Jones is your guy. You need to get that offense going. Jets defense has been really good. Sauce Gardner has been good. Pass rush has been much better. So the Patriots need to go in with a plan, and the plan needs to be that Mac Jones is your quarterback for this full entire game, unless he gets hurt. And then on the flip side, presumption is James Robinson's playing. Will it be a McCaffrey thing where he's limited? Probably. But how effectively can they run the ball? Patriots defense has gotten gashed for some big time. We just saw it last week. Bears ran all over them. I'm not saying the Jets need to run it to that effect, but the Jets need to run the ball efficiently because Zach Wilson's not lighting it up. So can this Jets offense run the ball? And can the Patriots stick to their game plan? And I think whichever team does that better will win. Right this minute, the Jets a better team? Absolutely. Is it at home? Mm-hmm. So do I think the Jets will win this game and get to 6-2? Yes. But again, I thought the Bucs would beat the Steelers. They didn't. I thought the Bucs would beat the Panthers. They didn't. So
it is a crazy season.
There is, there is no longer such a thing called a lock in 2022/2023 NFL. There is no such thing as a lock.
Absolutely. Not to stay too long on this game, like you said, I think New England has to figure out what the fuck they're doing. Honestly, who are you going with? What are you doing over there? Jets, good. Let's see what James Robinson has to do this week. But definitely, I think this is a big game to show just was the Jets all haul, or is there still heart in the Jets? I do hope the Jets win, and for your sake, I will vote that they will win 27-24.
I do. I also think it'll be a close game. I don't think you stepped away with them. But the Patriots, there's been rumors, about possibly trading Damian Harris. So that's what I mean. Is that is this
Stevenson owners have been enjoying that.
Is this Stevenson's running job? Nothing threatening his job. Or if they're not trading Harris, then they both need to be involved. So that's what I mean. Figure out what you are, Patriots. Belichick's some genius mastermind who can never do anything wrong. All right, well, show it. Beat a team that right now is in your division and better than you.
Well said. Tennessee facing off against the Texans. God, is this not going to be a wonderful week for Derrick Henry owners?
Well, the bright side is that you love these home teams so much, so this is a Texans upset from what I'm seeing. All right, 1-4-1 Texans pulling the upset.
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
real good.
At home field,
I will just go on a limb and say 38-10 Titans.
I mean, yeah, we don't need to spend a lot of time about it. Like I said, go trade Cooks, get yourself a pick, start building this team. Whatever you feel it is, either build it around Davis Mills, or build it around Dameon Pierce. Whichever the option is, get to it, stick to it, work with it. Get those picks so you can keep progressing. Titans, I picked to win the division. I mean, if they lose this game, it's gonna make me feel a lot worse about it. But show why you're the best team in the division, even though you traded AJ Brown. Prove it. Beat a team that you should beat. Essentially they'd already almost be eliminated. But do your thing. Same thing I told the Eagles. Get your win and the team you should beat, and move on to next week.
Agree. Much more interesting is the next game, of course, is Giants go into Seattle. And I think this is honestly the game to watch this week. Because God
So
knows it's the most impactful if you haven't seen that one meme going around.
think about it. Seahawks win this game, they go to 5-3. And that puts the Giants at 5-3. We've already talked about how weak, for the most part, the NFC's been.
This
The
is
North,
the best
the
record
North is not
game of the week.
the North is not putting out multiple playoff teams at the moment, unless the Packers get something going. The South doesn't even deserve a playoff team at this rate, so this is a big game for the Seahawks because this puts them literally. They were given the tiebreaker because they've beaten the Giants, but this is a big step for the Seahawks, who nobody expected anything. I'm not saying anybody expected things out of the Giants, but realistically, it's a big game for both teams. The Seahawks to give themselves a shot at making the playoffs, and the Giants to prove that they're legit, because we know that they're sitting there with an undefeated team in their division, and a Cowboys game that's technically one game behind them, but has already beaten them in this season. So you can say it's an important game for both teams. Simple as that. Usually you're like, oh, it's a statement game for blank. This is a statement game for both teams. And as you said, this is the best records or whatever this week. So statement game, and as much as I hate to think and say it, if the Giants win this game, this goes a long way to them legitly making the playoffs. Because now you're sitting there already at 6 wins, which is normally a full season for this Giants team. They get 4 wins, 6 on a good year.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be sitting at 6 wins. And you can't harp on enough. This NFC is so weak. So you're already at 6 wins, where the teams that were Super Bowl contenders, the Rams, the 49ers, the Packers, they're all sitting there with 3, 4 wins.
The Bucks.
So you've got a 2-3 game advantage on all these teams. And as most of us know, hopefully almost all of us know, your schedule, you play a full division, but if you're a third place team, you play the other third place teams. So as we've seen, the Giants haven't been very good. So their schedule, they're playing all last place teams, or third place, second to last place teams. So their schedule is not like, oh my goodness, we got to play Mahomes, 7 straight MVP quarterbacks, so we have no chance of beating. No, we have a favorable schedule, so let's go accomplish it. We saw they played Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville's playing better, but Jacksonville's still 2-5. Played Jacksonville last week. Seattle wasn't good last year. They were the worst team in that division. Now they're playing Seattle. They're getting that, so go win these games. Nobody's going to question, when push comes to shove, and we're sitting here in January playoff football, nobody's going to be like, well, they did what they needed to do to get in the playoffs, that they're playing football in the playoffs. Simple as that. So, statement game Giants, statement game Seahawks.
You absolutely said correct, Mr. J. Let me tell you something. It's absolutely going to depend on Lockett and DK, I think, because they are game time decisions, and if they don't play, I would like to see what Geno Smith has to do to show that he is very happy to be out, because, of course, he made a statement saying, he's been on the bench so long. He's always been that second string. He goes, it feels so great to, have Pete Carroll believe in me, believe in the Seattle team. They're home. I think this is still a good atmosphere, but on the other side, you have the Giants. Now, I know many of my fans of this show, a lot of my friends, Giants fans, not hating on this little miracle season that's going on, but like we've said, Mr. J have said, they're a 4-5 win team. They're now right now 6-1. I mean, insane. they're just really showing up. Barkley revitalizing his career, but it has to be talked the witching hour. They've been on the lucky end. The question is, in Seattle, can they overcome that? And I think that if, like I said, if DK or Lockett play, there is no doubt in my mind that Seattle is winning this game. But if they do not play, I can see the Giants winning, but it will be a one-score game. Ladies and gentlemen, I really do think this will be a game to watch because of huge implications for both teams. But if you want to see a comedy show, let's move over to the Commanders versus the Colts.
Well, this was going to be the Carson Wentz Bowl. But guess what? He hurt. So we're now, as we talked about earlier, Matt Ryan got benched. Carson Wentz got hurt. So now we're sitting here with second string versus second string. The big advantage is that Heineke led what was then a Redskins team to a playoff berth, which at that time, exactly what we're saying about the Giants right now, nobody expected that from the Redskins at that time, and they made the playoffs. Giants are mirroring that. But back to this game, I need Jonathan Taylor. Get me going. I told you, and you echoed it. Heineke to McLaurin is legit. Should be another good game for those two. But I need the Colts, who by no stretch of imagination are out of it. I need the Colts to get that offensive identity. You're now essentially throwing your backup quarterback to the Lions, saying that he's going to start, unless he gets hurt, that he's playing the rest of the year. You've already come out and said, no matter how bad he is, allegedly he's playing the rest of the year. You say that to take pressure off him. But what did I say earlier? The best way to take pressure off your quarterback is by running the ball. Jonathan Taylor was RB number 1 to start this season. Use him. Use him. You're not saving him for anything, and your goal is to make the playoffs. You're only technically one. First place has 4 wins, and you have 3. You decided to tie the Texans week 1. That's on you. But you're 1 win from being tied with the first place team. Go get that, as Greg is saying that they make their playoff push. It needs to start here. This is a winnable game. A team that you should beat. Use Jonathan Taylor a lot. Don't throw the ball 40 times. That's not the recipe to success. Use Jonathan Taylor. Go win a game. Commanders beat the Packers last week. They run the ball fairly efficiently. And Samuel and McLaurin with Heineke, I think will do exactly what they did last week again. Combined about 130, 140 yards receiving, touchdown or 2. I don't think this is a guaranteed Colts win. I feel like this may be another Commanders win, and they get their ball. I'm not saying they're making a playoff push, but they get their momentum going, which hurts me because I really want their rookie quarterback Howell to play. But I just think this is a game that the Commanders end up winning. The Colts are just too talking about their coach possibly getting fired and all that. So I think good old Riverboat Ron gets it done in this one.
They got to use Taylor, like you said. Let's just let's take a memory to week 1 where he was projected for 20 points. Taylor gets 27.5. Good. And he got 6.5, 10.
Can you see his stats there though? Tell me what he did in week 1. How many times did he run the ball? I know the answer. How many times did he run the ball?
He ran the ball 31 times.
Yes. 30. Why can't we do that? What? It was only enough. I get it. He got hurt. But week 1, we could use him 31 times. And after that, in the games he's healthy, we can use him like 10 to 15 times max.
Well, the next 2 were 12 and 14.
Yeah, but we know that I think the third game he got hurt. But
Yeah.
the week 2 he didn't get hurt. And what number did you just say? 12.
No, that was last week.
Oh, you're talking about last week. Okay, fine. So he was back last week. If he's healthy enough to play, how are you not giving him the ball?
That's what I'm saying. 13.5. Love to see it. However, what I also love to see is a team that I really do feel uh, could pull up this upset, and that's, of course, the Commanders, because I think, in my personal opinion, you got a big game coming from McLaurin. McLaurin's projected for 10. It's the first time he's been projected for 10 in the last couple weeks. I think he could be huge here. Definitely could be a different factor against this Colts, but at the end of the day, Colts have something to play for. Colts are fighting, and you got to use Taylor. You got to use Taylor. 10 rushes or 31 rushes. He's going to get the job done. And when you don't, you fucking throw it to Pittman. I'm sick of this shit, Colts. Figure out who you are, like Mr. J said earlier in the show. This is getting ridiculous. This is a Commanders team that's in a hard enough division as it is. Really nothing to play for. Colts, pounce on them, see what you can do.
Well,
21 to
here's
10.
my thing. So he split early last year with Hines. Like they literally came out and said they were splitting. This is his game logs from last year. Week 1, 17 rushes. He's splitting. 15, 10, 16, 15, 14, 18. This is you splitting and you're getting 18 carries.
Mhm.
You're not splitting this year and you're getting 10 carries, 12 carries. Late in the year when he took over, this is the first week he took over. 21 rushes, 32 rushes, 32 rushes, 29 rushes, 27 rushes, 20 rushes. What changed? He got worse in the offseason, so we couldn't give him as many touches this season. Like I said, I feel like they're just too worried about 2, 3, 4 years down the line. How about let's win now? You come out, you trade for Matt Ryan, which is a statement. Carson Wentz had you one game away from making the playoffs last year. They needed to win the final game and they lost to Jacksonville. So Carson Wentz had you right there. And they were so quick to kick him out the door. Carson Wentz threw 7 interceptions last year. Matt Ryan had practically 7 interceptions in a game. But point being was you got Matt Ryan. He was supposed to be that guy that put you over the edge. So you weren't looking for the future because you wouldn't be trading for a 38-year-old Matt Ryan. So you were trying to win now. Not using Jonathan Taylor is not a win now philosophy. So are you winning now? Or are we preserving Jonathan Taylor? And that's been my issue with the Colts team since really including week 1. I get it, he got the ball 31 times, but you tied the Texans. Like, what was this team doing? I just, like, you're half in, half out. You got to be all in one way or all in the other way.
Indeed. 49ers facing the Rams. Big game for McCaffrey.
I certainly think it will be. No Debo. So why not?
Especially when you're projected for 16.5. Good to see those numbers from McCaffrey.
So we're getting towards that time of year. We're pushing towards Christmas, right? So when you were a kid, right, and you're sitting down by the tree, and you open that big present, and it's a nice toy, and you want to play with it, what do? Do you play with that toy? Or do you just leave it there for show?
Oh, you play with it. You play with it hard.
So you're the 49ers, and you got this shiny new toy. It's almost like Christmas morning. Granted, it's a week later, but you got this shiny new toy. You're playing a team that knocked you out of going to the Super Bowl last year. They're struggling as well. What do? You play with that shiny new toy. You want to run the ball with McCaffrey 20 times? You do that. You want to throw it to him another 20 times? Guess what? You do that because you need to win this game. The Chiefs blew you out of the water last week. You're behind where you need to be. You've already lost to the Bears. Like, you need whatever it. If Christian McCaffrey needs to touch the ball 55 times in this game for you to win this game, guess what? Christian McCaffrey needs to touch the ball 55 times because you lose again, especially to a team in your division. These division losses are almost 2-point swings because you're now losing a game, and then
Plus
you're
in your
losing to
division.
a team in your division.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't afford to lose this game. So don't tell me, oh, hey, well, we're in it for the long haul. That's not why you traded for Christian McCaffrey. You traded for Christian McCaffrey to get to where you need to be this season. You need to win this game. And, I mean, the Rams didn't get a shiny new toy. And they're coming off a bye. Matt Stafford needs to be better, and all this. The Rams need to win too, but they don't have that shiny new toy to play with. So somebody needs to show who wants it more, because you know what? I think that whoever loses this game might, as bad as the NFC's been, might just eliminate themselves. Unless the Giants fall apart, the Cowboys fall. I mean, anybody could say it that the Seahawks could certainly fall apart. But at that point, whoever loses this game needs help. They either need to win out, win 9 out of 10, something to that effect, which is obviously tough to do. So whoever loses this game is in rough shape.
Let's talk about the 49ers. I'm hoping a big game from McCaffrey, and I think he will deliver. Henderson also projected to have a big game, not on the injury report, had an illness, but it looks like he will be indeed going for 11 points. And of course, Cooper Kupp going to get his time to shine. But this is the 49ers game to win, especially Jimmy G. You're out Debo, but use McCaffrey 70 billion goddamn times. I hope this is the Saints score of 35,000 to 2. I hope Jimmy G shows that the San Francisco 49ers are indeed the playoff / Super Bowl team that we saw glimpses of last year. So give me that team 21-10 49ers. Now, I'd be lying, Mr. J. I'd be lying if I cannot wait for Sunday Night Football. I want to see.
Here's what we talked about earlier, just because it's something it popped up on Twitter real quick. We've talked about it many times. So Steelers are seeking a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. He was a second-round pick when they originally drafted him. So I understand that you don't always get that value, but he's young and he's talented. So now we're going into that game where we've talked 10 times today where they need to make a move. Is that price worth it? Absolutely. Is it fair? Like I said, you don't usually get equal value, but you need to make a move. And if it's going to cost you a 2 to go get Claypool, let's go. But now what?
Also, Mr. J there for a second. Love to see that.
Lost everything there.
Oh, we're back. We got you back.
There we go.
It's touch and go for a second there, sir.
Lost you on the thing. So go ahead. Tell me why you're excited for this game.
I cannot wait for Josh Allen and the Bills to destroy the Packers. And then for Aaron Rodgers to get mad and, as you said, get a tablet and be a Tom Brady. Because at the end of the day, I feel like he's turning into the next Tom Brady. I like the biopics where it's like it shows him like biopicking for Tom Brady, like or whatever. Insane. I think right here that Josh Allen and the Bills, especially at home, are going to continue the dominance. I mean, I don't know if you guys look at the power rankings. Me and Mr. J do. It is insanity that every week they are number one in the power ranker. Even over an undefeated team, the Bills are still the number one team. And it's because they have the weapons. Yes, they have to figure out their running situation, but I mean, you can make things work. Singletary projected for 11.5 should hopefully have a good week, especially with this Green Bay defense and offense, and just in general not knowing what the hell is going on over there.
All right. Well, let's get a little more in depth. I don't want to hear about it from a fantasy perspective, but what did you just say? The Bills are number one in the power ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What is their biggest weakness to you?
To me,
Yeah, what is their biggest weakness?
the run.
So if you were the Bills and Kareem Hunt is being floated out there, Cam Akers being thrown out there to an extent, Alvin Kamara, even though we've heard more of the Eagles, Alvin Kamara's name's been thrown out there.
God, if you went to the Eagles, oh my God.
Are you addressing that need, or are you saying, hey, let's leave well enough alone?
I think you don't. If you're the Bills, I really don't think you need it.
But now, hear me out on this one.
I'm listening.
Who's the other really, really big powerhouse in the AFC?
One would say the Chiefs.
Okay. Who knocked the Bills out of the playoffs last year?
I agree. Okay, yeah, the Chiefs.
What is the Chiefs' biggest weakness?
Running.
So, if you're looking at it and you're saying I know they beat them in the regular season this year, whole different animal though.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling me that both of our teams' biggest weakness is the running game, you're the Bills. Why don't you go out and address the running game? Shouldn't that put you over top of the Chiefs? I don't think the Chiefs are going to trade for running back. I mean, I really don't see them trading because they've already traded Kareem Hunt. I can't see them trading for Kareem Hunt, stuff like that. So if you're the Chiefs,
And plus, you already made a trade with the Giants.
you're probably standing pat. You know, this is your team going forward. Patrick Mahomes will carry us. You know, Mahomes to Kelsey and whatever else. That'll carry us. So if you're the Bills and you lost in the playoffs, coin flip, yada yada yada. If your run game is your biggest weakness and you're completely on par with the Chiefs, why do you not? I don't know if Cam Akers is an upgrade, but how do you not at least give that a shot? Or are you just focused on, hey, James Cook is gonna be our guy in the future, and we don't want to mess with that. This is one of the things where I think well enough is not good enough, because what if you play the Chiefs again in the playoffs? Can you beat them a second time in a season? I don't know. I do know that you're good, but you've lost key pieces on defense.
No.
And Patrick Mahomes is extremely good. No matter what, you know, you might hate his brother, whatever. He's still really, really good.
But my argument to you, sir, in our now discussion of the Sunday Night Football game, last year, correct me if I'm wrong, the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill.
Sure.
And, you know, the Travis Kelsey and that weapons there. I understand that.
Sure.
This year,
but you got to play both ends, though. Buffalo had guys who are no longer there as well.
I know, I'm saying.
So,
but as an ideal threat, if you were a team, you would look to Hill, Travis Kelsey, mind you. I think that this Bills team, especially if how the game ended with that coin flip, we're always saying the coin flip, but I think and I've said it since week one, I think the Bills are on a more path. And yes, would Kareem Hunt work with the Bills? Yes. The other running backs, would they work? Yeah, but then what do you split? Then say, for example, they end up going and they get Cam, and they split it with Cam and Singletary. He's still got Diggs. You think that's the move that needs to make them the superstar of the AFC?
well, if we broke it down into the three portions, you know, both quarterbacks are very good, so we're not gonna nitpick at which one's better. Who's got the better receivers?
I would argue Buffalo.
Who's got the better tight end?
I would argue Kansas City.
Who's got the better running backs? That's your tiebreaker.
That's right, yeah. But
so
you also have the defense.
So that's what
I
I'm
think
just
the
saying.
Bills defense is better than Kansas City.
Sure. But again, we still got a whole season to go. Like I said, the Bills defense has suffered some pretty big injuries.
Yeah, I will also concur with that.
And unfortunately for them, guess where those injuries are? In the secondary. So now we're sitting here playing against Patrick Mahomes. Realistically, you're the Buffalo Bills. You're sitting here. The Jets are 5-2. Do you feel threatened by the Jets? No. Do you feel threatened by the Dolphins? Not yet. So you're kind of looking forward. So you're sitting here saying, all right, at some point, since we beat them, Kansas City's gonna have to come through us. Unless Kansas City outright wins more games than them, then we have to go through Kansas City. So right now you're sitting here looking at it, hey, we need to go through them. So now we're looking at, hey, can our core of what's healthy defense stop Patrick Mahomes? It's damn near impossible to stop Kelce at full health and whatnot. Can our core, yes, they don't have Tyreek Hill, but now that I would like to say, and this may sound a little off, they may just be a little more balanced. I'm not saying they're better, but they're more balanced. Now you're lining up where you're single covering everybody. So if Valdez Scantling's better than the guy covering him, he wins that matchup. Or if Juju is better than so-and-so, or if Kadarius Toney can actually do something, maybe he's better than their fourth corner. So they're putting, they're maybe focusing their defense onto Kelce, and that leaves those guys with a chance to do something. So I just think come playoff time, having that running back takes a lot of pressure off your defense and let you control the game. I mean, if you came out and told me that, hey, Buffalo could add, a defensive back, I wouldn't argue against that. Same thing. Like I said, I think the Chiefs are standing pat. They traded 2 picks for Toney. How much more into the resources do they want to dig? But if you're Buffalo, get whatever is going to put you over the top. If it's going to be that running back.
Who would you want?
If I were them?
Yeah.
For this season, I think obviously I'd want Kareem Hunt. But depending on the price and seeing how the whole thing's gone down, I can't see Cam Akers' price being that high. If his price is low and he's somebody who could actually help you the next 3 years,
why not?
I say go for that, because they drafted Cook, but he wasn't Breece Hall. He wasn't those running backs of this draft class. He was like mid-tier. So could he be your future back? Sure. And Cam Akers was a high pick. So the potential was there. So if I want to hitch my wagon to Cam Akers or Cook 2 years down the line, I think right this minute I'd rather Cam Akers, hoping he stays healthy.
And the price is right.
Yeah, because like I said, the team's been without him for a few weeks now. Everybody knows what's going on, so you can't ask for, you're not getting a haul for him, and he's a running back. You're not getting a haul for him anyway.
Monday night game, Bengals going to Cleveland and facing the Browns.
So obviously Monday's a holiday.
Happy holiday.
So is anybody dressing up for Halloween? Are the Bengals gonna come into this game as zombies because Jamar Chase is out? Are the Browns gonna come into the game as zombies? Will the Browns dress up as superheroes? Will they be, Superman and the Flash and everybody? What are we dressing up as? And I mean, you could say the same thing about the Bengals. That it's now Boyd's time to shine. He gets to step into that top 2 wide receiver role with Chase being out. He had a huge week last week. Can he continue off that? Or was he Cinderella for Halloween and the clock struck? Give it to me, boys. Show me who came to play on Monday. I mean, on paper, you would think the Bengals win this game by 21. But nothing's gone that way so far this season, so
I think that the Bengals are on their right path. If they had anything like last week, yeah, I know Chase is out, but Tyler Boyd also been showing up in the last couple weeks. Very huge to see. Um, Browns, like Nick Chubb, you're gonna do your thing. I think this is not gonna be a Monday night game to watch, but definitely gonna be interesting to see if how the Bengals look without Jamar Chase. But
He-
I think even with him out, this team is still a better unit than the Browns team, and
Absolutely.
I would think that it will be a 28-14 game.
So the guy I need to see show up is actually T. Higgins. So he came into the year, we did the Dynasty League. And for Dynasty rankings, he was back end first round, early second round pick. His numbers, remember Chase was on the team last year. His numbers are down from last year. So now you're stepping in. You have no Chase, so that's not an excuse. You're without Chase for at least 4 weeks. I need Higgins to get it going. He's only 23, so he's still young, productive, but he is not playing at last year's pace. So I need him to get it going. Boyd was the 3, so it's understandable if his stats aren't on pace to where some people might want to be, but Higgins has not been that guy. Give it to me, Higgins. Give me something. Tyler Boyd's averaging 65 yards a game. T. Higgins is averaging 65 yards a game. Give me some love, Higgins. I don't have you, so it's not a fantasy bias. I don't have Joe Burrow. None of that. So I'm just saying what I need to see. We came into a dynasty league, and I believe when we started the thing, he was like wide receiver 5. He's obviously not competing at wide receiver 5 numbers, so let's go. Take over this offense with your boy Chase out. The Ravens, like we said, should be 8-0, but they're 5-3. You need to stay with them. You had a slow start to your year. Let's go, Bengals. Game you should win. Playing against a rough Browns team. Jacoby Brissett is not the answer, but I don't think anybody really expected him to be the answer. He was just kind of holding it down till Watson got off suspended. But right now, we already know the Ravens played, and the Ravens won. So they're at 5-3. You're at 4-3. Get this win. Get to 5-3. Keep the momentum going. Let's go.
Let's go indeed.
Well, I got a pep talk. These underachieving teams.
I'm saying.
I'm just gonna start forwarding our podcast, the T. Higgins and the Bengals and everything.
Make them believe.
Here's your pep talk.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Mr. J, always a pleasure co-hosting with you, sir.
Of course.
Remember, we're here every Friday at 6:30. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Be a part of the conversation. Be in the comments.
We got Twitter, so ask those questions on there wherever you want. Send them. We'll get them.
That's it. Mr. J said it correctly. Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week for some more fun antics. Let's see what the hell happens this week. God, all I know is there's going to be a team that's first place, and it's not going to be the Saints or the Buccaneers.
Or the Buccaneers. Unless they tie, then but
then it's just chaos forever.
But yeah. But
thank you all for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next time. Peace.